Cuckoo is bananas.
Consider yourself lucky.
Cuckoo is the latest film from Tillman Singer, a director I've never heard of. Neon are officially powerhouses in the distribution world. It's becoming a legitimate selling point in all of their films, to the point where I see the Neon logo in the trailers and I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. To put it simple, I watched this movie for a few reasons. It's one of my favorite genres, Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens, and it's a Neon movie. Neon heads are way up, by the way. Sorry, A24, your time's over.
You look like you don't belong here.
Cuckoo is about Gretchen, who is 18 years old, played by Hunter Schafer. She's dealing with the loss of her mom and she decides to move with her dad to Germany. She encounters some weird stuff going on at the hotel that she's working at. The owner of this hotel is Dan Stevens, German Dan Stevens. Let's start with the performances. You know, I really haven't seen Hunter Schafer in anything. I understand who she is in the zeitgeist, but I really haven't watched anything from her. I never saw Euphoria, and I haven't seen her in any other films besides, you know, Kinds of Kindness for 5 minutes. So I definitely have not seen her in any leading role. I was pretty impressed. She was able to play the 18-year-old well, too, as a 25-year-old. That's one of my favorite dynamics of this movie, is Hunter Schafer playing that 18-year-old well. It's partially on her performance, but it's partially on the script as well. There's one scene specifically in the trailer that I absolutely love.
Family belongs here.
That's a fucking weird way to put it.
It's a great joke, but it also pokes fun a little bit at the genre. Something this movie is actually able to do well. This movie is really good at doing a little tone balancing. This movie is able to balance the drama, the comedy. There is legit comedy to this movie. The scary moments as well. It's able to balance all of this stuff. It's hard to insert comedy into movies like this without removing stakes. I felt like there were a lot of stakes here. I like the relationships developed in this movie, specifically with Hunter Schafer's character and the stepsister. Dan Stevens is the other side of the coin in this film. Man, I just love him. He's becoming one of our best underrated actors working today. I didn't like a lot of his older films. I really didn't. I despise The Guest. It's one of my most hated movies. He's coming off a run of this movie, Abigail, and Godzilla vs. Kong. All very different characters. Godzilla vs. Kong, he plays like the broy, lovable, intelligent dude. Abigail, he just plays a scumbag. In this movie, he's going all the way. German crazy scientist. Or sorry, preservationist. You are not getting me to spoil anything in this movie. But yeah, Dan Stevens is like one of the best parts of this movie. I've been trying to come away with interpretations of this film, and I really don't have many. My enjoyment of this film comes from Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens. The script is a lot of fun, but for the most part, it's really that dynamic that keeps me engaged. Let's get into the technicals of this film. I love watching a filmmaker for the first time and being like, wow, he knows what he's doing behind the camera. There's a lot of great camera work, and I love the sound effects of this film too. I love all of the work that goes into all the loop scenes. No, I'm not going to tell you what that means. One thing I will say, there are a few goofy effects in this movie. There's another scene from the trailer that, you know, when you watch the movie, you expect to be a little different. In the trailer, they like to pull back a little bit, especially if it's like a horror movie. Then I watch the movie and it's cut exactly like the trailer. Instead of elaborating on the scary scene, they just kind of cut away from it. It only annoyed me one time, but it is something of note. There's also a scene where somebody's mouth drops way too fast. It honestly just made me chuckle really hard. Again, this is nitpicking. For the most part, I had a really great time with this movie. It knew when to end too. A lot of movies really struggle with pacing nowadays, and I absolutely loved the pacing of this film. I also really like when this movie stops to give you information. I feel like they really only give you what you need to know. Something that can become really annoying in this genre, when they try to spell everything out for you. Yeah man, I don't got any take-home themes from this movie. I just really had a great time. I'm really struggling at finding anything else I can say about this movie besides it's a great time. I can't really compare this movie to anything either. That's a huge thumbs up. I definitely got to check out this filmmaker. I know he's got one other movie that people talk about. I'd give this a solid 7 out of 10. It's a great time. I don't know if I'll ever see it again, but you know, a lot of fun. I just reviewed Trap. I reviewed some other films that just came out, but I also did a huge ranking of all of David Lynch's films. Go check that out as well. Other than that, I'll see y'all later.